In approximately 24 hours and 15 minutes, the Dogs will kick off for the first time in 2023. Hello, everybody. This is JT Productions, and welcome to my deep dive. Well, not really a deep dive, just a overview of how I think Georgia's roster stacks up this season and what I think is going to happen in this game. Well, Georgia against the UT Martin, this shouldn't be a contest. I could see us maybe starting out a little slower on the first few drives, but I think this is going to be a good tune-up game for us going into the beginning of the season to help get people healthy and young guys some reps. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the roster and how I think that each position group is going to fare this season. Well, where to start but the quarterback situation? Well, Carson Beck was announced the starter a couple of days ago, and I think this was the right choice. Carson Beck, oldest guy out of all of them. He looked great in the spring game. Heard a lot of good things about him in spring and fall camp. So I think he was the right choice to pick him. He looked very smooth with the receivers during the spring game and smooth in the pocket. Brock Vandagriff, good second option. I just don't think that he is ready just yet, comfortable. I don't think he's as comfortable as Carson is. And Gunner, he's not ready, I don't think. Now to a position group. Well, quarterback situation, I don't have an issue with. I think that our quarterback situation is completely fine. Running back's a different story. We lost Branson Robinson to I forget what it was, but it was an injury that is going to keep him out for the 2023 season. It was a significant blow to our team and roster. However, I don't think it's going to cripple us as bad as other people think. We still have Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards, who both are banged up early this season so far. But when they get healthy, which we have a couple of weeks for them to, I think that we'll be fine at the running back position. The thing is, Georgia has not had a outstanding running game since 2018 when we still had Jim Chaney as our offensive coordinator. I don't know if it was scheme. I don't know what it's been. The closest that we've had to a run game like in 2018 was in 2021 with Zamir White and James Cook. Now, most likely, I don't think that we're going to be playing Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards a lot in the first game. Well, what does that leave us? We're out Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards, and Branson Robinson, and Kenny McIntosh has gone to the NFL. Well, one guy that I'm guessing a lot of people are forgetting is redshirt freshman Andrew Paul. This guy came in with Branson Robinson and was another guy that was highly rated coming out of high school, and he the reason he didn't play last year was because he got injured early in the offseason, or early in the spring and fall camp. So I think that he is going to be a guy that could stand out and make something happen. You also have a true freshman, Roderick Robinson, who showed some flashes a little bit in the spring game, but we don't really know what to expect from him. He was highly touted coming out of high school out of California, so we'll see with him. The main two guys that have experience on the team, have played during the season, are two former walk-ons, if you couldn't imagine. Now, you hear former walk-on and you think, well, why are we even talking about them? Why are they even planning to get starting time? Why are they even seeing the field? Well, we did just have a former walk-on win back-to-back national championships for us, so I don't think we should stay on that front. The two that I'm talking about are Cash Jones and Seven Clark. Seven Clark entered the transfer portal early in the spring, but decided to exit it to come back to Georgia after weighing out his options. And I think a lot of people around the program are glad that he decided to come back. Him and Cash Jones saw some playing time in garbage time last year, and when they did, they made the best of it. Cash Jones even had a long touchdown run against Vanderbilt. Now, all in all, running back position is a big question mark for me because even so, if we get Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards back, Kendall Milton has not been the same since he's had these string of injuries after his freshman season. It's looked like he's been running in slow motion. It looks like he's more stiff than he was, which I get it. Injuries happen, and he's been serviceable in a running back by committee. I just don't think that he's going to be able to carry the workload like Kenny McIntosh was able to elevate and do. Zamir White, James Cook, when they were a tandem. DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel, which I don't expect him to be that. I expect him to be able to get us tough yards and just play his best game. Now, Dejon Edwards is a different story. Dejon Edwards, since 2020, he has gotten better every year. He reminds me of Sony Michel, the way that he runs. He's a good receiver. He's been a closer the last couple of seasons. He's very shifty, but he's not afraid to run you over and break tackles either. So I think him and Kendall Milton, the best thing would be if they were a 1-2 tandem. And if they're able to do that with maybe Roderick Robinson and Andrew Paul seeing the field in relief of them, I think a running game will be fine. It just relies on the health of Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards, and if they're able to be those sorts of running backs that we're thinking they can be. So that's one question mark that I have on the offense. Now let's look at the next position group, receivers and tight ends. Now let's get the easy one out of the way. I have no issues with our tight ends. Brock Bowers, probably one of the best players in college football, top 5. Oscar Delp, good young player, sophomore. He's going to come in and he's not going to be able to replace what Darnell did, but he's going to be able to be another good receiver and hopefully a good blocker. And if not, we got 2 freshmen behind him, Pierce Spurlin and Lawson Lucky. I believe Lawson Lucky had an injury a couple of days ago that's going to keep him out for a couple of weeks, but we still have Pierce Spurlin. He missed the spring game, which Lawson Lucky didn't. So we'll see how he does. We don't really know much about him going into this. Now looking at the receivers, this has been a talking point of notably Josh Pate and a couple of the other analysts of Carson Beck. Will he be able to gel with these receivers, and will the receivers be able to make an impact? Well, they're talking about us losing A.D. Mitchell. They're talking about us losing Kearis Jackson. Well, both of those guys were missing time last season. A.D. Mitchell played the first 2 games, I think, and only made a big impact in the Oregon game with a catch and a touchdown. He did not play after that until the SEC championship game, and he didn't really make an impact in that game. Now, he did make a significant impact in the Ohio State game, but that's overblown because he made the game-winning touchdown. Arian Smith had a better performance than A.D. Mitchell did. Now, that's not to say A.D. Mitchell isn't great. A.D. Mitchell is one of the best receivers that has come out of Georgia under Kirby Smart. I just don't think that it's going to be as much of an impact as people think. Now, if it does, we've done things to rectify that. Dominic Lovett, who was a top 5 receiver in the SEC last year, comes in from Missouri. He looked comfortable in the offense in the spring game. We still have Ladd McConkey, who is your Swiss Army knife on offense. You have Marcus Rosemary-Jacksaint, who's gotten good. He's gotten better every year since his freshman year when he had that injury against Florida. You have Dylan Bell, who was a freshman phenom last year. Not really phenom, but he contributed. He got on the field offensively as a freshman. Arian Smith, literally the game changer. Speed all across the board. If he can stay healthy, that's all we need. Then we got Robert Thomas, who comes in for depth from Mississippi State to replace that Dominic Blaylock or Kearis Jackson depth. You also have Jackson Meeks, who's been waiting on his time to play. Denylon Morissette, who was a freshman last year. Cole Spears, C.J. Smith. that is the depth of our wide receivers. A lot of young pieces. We also have three freshmen: Tyler Williams, Anthony Evans, who was a track star out of I think Oklahoma or Missouri or something like that, and Zed Haynes. So I don't have any questions about the depth or talent of our receivers. I don't know why all the other analysts do. I guess just because they don't look into stuff like this. On the offensive line, I don't have a big question. I would say how the new starters like Ernest Green or Austin Blasky play. Everyone else, Xavier Truss, Cedric Van Pran, Tate Ratledge, and Amarius Mims, I think they're going to do just fine. Now, the offense, running back was my main question mark. Receiver may be a close second. On the defensive side, we have talent all across the board. Interior, you have a lot of talent, just not a lot of known names just yet. Michael Williams, I think he's going to be the star of the front seven, of the rushers. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, Zion Lowe, Tramel Walthier, Nazir Stackhouse, and Warren Brinson are going to make up that rotation. You also have young guys like Jordan Hall and Jamal Jarrett, who are 2 5-stars coming in. On the linebackers, this is going to be the absolute best of our defense. Jalen Walker, who's a freshman last year. Jamon Dumas-Johnson, probably our best linebacker. Smile Munden, another great one. Chaz Chambliss, Marvin Jones Jr., Xavier Sori, freshman who shined in the spring game. Raylan Wilson, E.J. Lightsey, C.J. Allen, another very good freshman. Damon Wilson, another good freshman. Samuel Mpemba, people have said that he is just like Lorenzo Carter. So linebacker is probably our best position on the defense. Out of the front seven, I would say the biggest question mark is the edge, is how our pass rush is going to be. Interior and edge. We do have Michael Williams, who's going to be a big part of that edge rushing group, along with Chaz Chambliss and Marvin Jones Jr. However, is the interior pass rush going to be, how much is it going to drop off since Jalen Carter is gone? Well, Warren Brinson, he looked good last year. So did Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. And getting pressure when Jalen Carter was out. I'd say Warren Brinson will be the star of that interior pass rush. Maybe Walthier as well. So, let's look at the DBs now. Kamari Lassiter, he's abided his time now. He's looking to be the number 1 corner. On the other side, you have Dalen Everett or Nyland Green. Don't know for sure just yet. You also have redshirt freshman Julian Humphrey, who's going to be fighting for that as well. In the nickel, it's either going to be Bullard or it could be Tyke Smith. Bullard played a lot of it last year, while Chris Smith was up at safety with Malachi Starks. And he played very well. Javon Bullard is not going to be why I question the secondary. You also have guys like Malachi Starks, like I said, who was a freshman phenom last year. Tyke Smith, who still has not found the field after transferring from West Virginia going into 2021. David Daniel Sisavon is going to be a big part. You also have Dan Jackson, who's another veteran that's going to be a big part. Other guys, freshmen, Justin Rhett at safety, and Jonel Aguero, and also A.J. Harris. 3 freshmen that could see the field, and especially early in the year against these teams like UT Martin, Ball State, and UAB. My main concern is the second corner position. This is going to be a fight between probably Dalen Everett and Nyland Green. Last year, Kamari Lassiter was second corner because of Keely Ringo being the first corner. If we can't figure this out early, especially when it gets to the South Carolina game, we may be in trouble because Spencer Rattler, if he's on his game like he was the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season, we may be in trouble against South Carolina. Now, Kamari Lassiter is also a semi-question mark as well. Kamari Lassiter while he was the second corner, he was not going against the best of the best receiver like Keely Ringo was. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why he was sort of criticized so much, because even though he was so talented, he was going against the best talent on their team when it came to wide receiver. So can Kamari Lassiter take that next step to being a good first corner? We'll see. The last time we did not have a elite first corner, we've had in the past, let's see, we had Keely Ringo last year, Darian Kendrick in 2021. 2020 was Tyson Campbell / Eric Stokes, same in 2019. 2018 we had DeAndre Baker. I guess 2017 when we had like Aaron Davis, Malcolm Parrish, is the last time we didn't have an elite first corner. So we'll see if Kamari Lassiter can take that next step. So on defense, I would say my biggest question marks are going to be interior pass rush / edge rushing pass rush and getting to the quarterback, and the first and second corner positions. How are they going to play? How are they going to grow during the season? Finally, special teams. How is Jared Zirkle going to do? We had Podlesny since 2020, and we had Blankenship since 2016. So we've been blessed by good kickers. Will Zirkle be that as well? We also have a transfer, Liam Badger, coming in from Kennesaw State, who didn't look bad in the spring game either. They're going to be fighting it out for the starting kicker. Brett Thorson at punter, no question. I think he's going to be just fine. So that's all I got with regards to the overview of the team. I hope we get answered to the 3 question marks. The running backs, or 4. The running backs, some of the receivers, the pass rush, and corners. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Go Dogs.